Thank you guys for watching the Animal One Guy YouTube videos. If you like this video, please leave a like and even comment below. And if you like all my content, please hit the subscribe button. And why not click the bell icon for notifications too? That way you can see all my videos. Give me the ball. Thank you guys for being a member of my reptile rescue family. Now, until Christmas 2020, I'm going to have a GoFundMe link in the description if you're looking to donate to help me buy some film equipment. Our family really appreciates it. Thanks. Take care. It's been a while, so let's give you guys a golden Tegu update. And just like the title says, this dude is regrowing his tail. In fact, it's right there. We'll take a look at it in just a little bit. And we'll feed him some roaches in just a little bit. But why don't we speak about the Tegu and what's going on. So just as a recap, if anyone doesn't know, or if you're new watching, this Tegu didn't have the most responsible first owners. In fact, if we look at its feet and everything. So this poor guy had a lot of stuck shed, okay? So much so that, well, he lost fingers, or most of his fingers. He lost most of his claws, and he ended up losing a good portion of his tail, which, if you go back and watch in his playlist, I just preserved the tail in a test tube filled with formaldehyde to use that as an educational piece. But you get to see what happened to the tail, how it was preserved, and everything like that. So I'm going to go over some steps first of what I've been doing. So people might look at this and say, hey, this Tegu, it's been a while since the last update, but the Tegu itself does not look as large. I mean, look at him. We're going to do a full pan here. And this is not a picture that I'm panning. This is a video. He's just sitting there looking at me. See him blinking? And there's a reason to that. Is his tail. His tail right here is regrowing. And because his tail is regrowing, although he's slamming food like crazy, he's not really shedding, and he's not really gaining size because all that energy, all that food is going to his tail right there. And that's what's happening. So we'll take a closer look at that. But that's what, if anyone goes and be like, he doesn't look like he's much bigger. That is a lot of tail regrowth going on, which is really good. So what have I been doing because of this? Well, one thing is, everyone who wanted me to go again with this litter box as his water dish, great catch. Because again, the water dish he was using are the water dishes that the baby blackthroat monitor has. And you can tell there's no way that this guy can soak in that type of water dish. But because he's been eating a lot, he's been pooping a lot. And soaking in his water to deal with his shed. So I've been changing this water multiple times a day, every time this guy poops, because as we know, he had wounds on his feet over here, and he had wounds on his tail, and I don't want any type of infection, right? When he dropped his tail, I had to make sure he was on antibiotics, he was on pain reliever, all that's real good and great, but now how is he doing now? So we're going to clean that water, we're going to empty that water again, but now let's take a look at him, which is another big important thing. So how have we done relationship-wise? If you guys remember, this guy was crazy, trying to bite me. It is a Colombian Tegu, not an Argentine Tegu. The Colombian Tegus are known to be much more aggressive. Much more aggressive. There's just this, that's the nicest way to say it. So he would come at me at full speed to bite me, to try to kill me. And well, what's become of it? Let's find out. I'm gonna take my hand and we're gonna go in here and we're gonna see if I survive. Okay. Before I take him out, before I look at that, so here comes my hand. Look at his aggressive look already. He's coming. He's smelling. He's licking, and he doesn't care. At this point, guys, he would have, the second my hand entered the cage, he would have shredded me. He would have jumped on me. He would have been biting the crap out of me. My hand would have been ripped open. Now, he is still not the most social to pet Tegu, although we're getting there. But let me show you what I mean by that. So he does tolerate me being close to him. He does lick me, he does smell me. And I am able to sometimes get in underneath his chin, give him a little bit of a pet. But other times, yeah, he just does this. He kind of just avoids. He goes into avoidance, and he turns around and he walks away. But see right there, I just touched him a little bit, and it's just making him nervous. He's not aggressive, but he just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So what are we going to do? We're going to feed him a little bit because I'll show you that aggression because he is super food aggressive. And we're going to take a look at, in detail, his hands, how they've healed. Because I've still been removing stuck shed, guys. Like, it's just a nightmare. Around the nails and everything. And I'm going to show you this tail that's regrowing and talk to you about regrowing tails and what happens to a tail when it regrows that differs from the original tail. Alright guys, so why don't we go flip over and take a look on top of the table now. Okay, I did have to interrupt his basking to take him out of his cage, but I really want to show this off to you because I think this is really important, guys. To show you how he's come such a long way. But I really want to show you the tail too, because it's really important. And you can see he's mostly tamed down. He's not going crazy. But what we're gonna do is we'll do a brief overview of his feet that you can see, and then we'll go ahead and we can look at the rest of them. His feet are really good looking compared to what they were. If you're new here, you're looking at these feet and you're seeing like, holy crap. There's no nail, there's no nail, there's no nail. Half of his toe is missing in length. Like, you know, look at this front hand here. It looks really pathetic. Let me get him turned around in my hands so you can see the front a lot easier. There we go. You look at his front hand here. Let me zoom in. And yeah, it's kind of really pathetic looking, right? If you're out on the inside looking out, people are going to be like, that doesn't look good at all. What are you talking about? And guys, if you knew, because you're new to the channel, I don't expect you to know, but if you knew where this guy was, you knew that he was in some bad ways. Let's see if I can get this to focus on his hand. The color, there we go. The color isn't too great, but yeah, he's doing really well. But what we really want to show you is the tail, because I want to show you, and I'm just moving him around in my hand, how this tail works when it grows back. Because a lot of people asked, will his tail grow back? And let's get it to, hey. He's very shy about this tail, okay? So a lot of people asked me, will the tail grow back? Will it be the same? And I kept answering no. And I don't want people to think like I lied, because there is going to be some tail that grows back. But it's not going to be the same. So we're going to let this autofocus focus in. So here's his healthy tail. Nice, healthy pattern. Okay, and then we get to the end where he dropped his tail, and then this is what we have. We have this new tail that's regrowing. And there's a couple of things that you're going to notice. One is it just looks like this big dark gray, dark black, just growth. And there's a little bit of pattern if you look in here. But so there's a couple things that happens when the tail grows back. One is understanding how the natural tail is. So the natural healthy tail has vertebrae all inside, right? So it's got that bone. You saw it. If you haven't seen the video before this where I preserve his tail, or the one where we inspect it, so he's got that vertebrae that goes along the back with all the individual joints, and then he's got tendons. I don't remember how many we counted, maybe 8, that run all the way down from the base of his butt here, all the way down to the length of the tail to the tip. Well, normally the tip. And muscle in there and things like that. So the new tail is not going to have any of that. The new tail is going to have a piece of cartilage that runs the length of the regrowth, so starting where the last vertebrae is down to where the tip of the tail will be. And then it will be surrounded by skin and fat cells. So There's a couple good things, as people may not know. Lizards store fat, they store water, they store excess food, supply in their tail, right, in the form of fat and energy. So why do they regrow their tail? So they're regrowing their tail to be able to store all of that energy again, that food, that water, those fat cells. That way they can eat off of them. And that's all the new tail is going to be good for. He's not going to be able to move it and have the control of what his full tail would have been. And it's not going to have the same control of what this remaining hunk of tail will look at. But one of the weirdest and most kind of gross things, and a lot of people don't comment this on tail regrowth or new tails, is obviously we know the look is different because the pattern won't all be 100% the same. It may just be this huge dark. Sometimes it's lighter. It depends if it's an albino. Sometimes the tail is just like bright white. But what a lot of people don't talk about is the feel of the regrowed tail. So if you have a lizard or even a snake and you feel and you move their body, like here if I move his healthy tail, it's very dense, right? The vertebrae are in there, it's wrapped in tendons, it's hard, it doesn't flop, it's got motive to it. The new tail, since it doesn't have that, is gross. It feels gross and it kind of looks gross. Watch this. I'm going to barely touch it, and I'm going to touch it towards the camera. Do you see how easily it moves like this? I mean, it's like the camera's probably going to have trouble focusing on it, and let's see if I'll set a manual focus on this area. But it's gross. Very gross. Come here. Let's see where you need to be to focus. And you stay right there. Come here. Let's go this way. That's good. Let me see. Yeah. So the tail is very shiny. It feels cold and it's floppy. It just has that piece of look at it. It just has that piece of cartilage. It doesn't feel the same. And he was basking. His whole body's warm. And he's got this little limp thing here. And I don't think people ever talk about that. And that's why I wanted to really show it off. So I wanted to show you off. Yes, the tail regrows, but come on, you can do it, focus. What it regrows into and from. Don't focus on my hand in the back. Yeah, there we go. It is healthy for the lizard, but it's not the same. But we won't tell him that. Well, he already knows. All right. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Otherwise, other than the regrowing tail, he's super healthy. He's become a lot more calm. He hasn't had a bath in a while. Needless to say, he hates baths because every time he's had a bath, we've had to remove stuck shed, which is great for him, but he just doesn't know that. All right, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you guys for supporting my reptile rescue family.